I love Asian fantasy, not as keen on YA, but you know, we move. However, today I am dedicating to finishing this stupid book. Whether I will actually use it is a different story. They're not the worst I've done, but they're slightly better than bad. Hello, we're back again. Welcome back to another video. My name is Ro, and today we are starting Book Box Battle February. Now I know you had the January video late. You can't blame me. If you watched the video or you are part of my Patreon, you know why I was late. Now, February, we're going to start out with a bang. So we have a book that I've already got in things, so it's hard to show you. I'm reading Daughter of the Moon Goddess. It's the Fairyloot pick for February, and the Illumicrate pick is A River Enchanted, which is somewhere behind me. I started this on audio a few weeks ago and I hated the audiobook. So I thought, oh God, please just stop reading. I stopped because I didn't want to taint it. I thought, I actually think I will like this if I don't listen to this stupid audiobook. So I listened to 4 chapters and I hated the narrator. And I felt like it was going a very juvenile way and blah, blah, blah. And I felt really shit, basically. I was like, no, I want to like this book. So I stopped. And now I'm starting again. This one, in fact, is actually the pick for my book club. The Crabulous Book Club on Patreon. And it's the bi-monthly book club pick. So that was for March and April. The live show is now on the 16th of May, just to give some people time to finish it off, including me, because I had a stressful time. Okay, so this is a long book. This is nearly 500 pages of YA Asian fantasy. I love Asian fantasy. Not as keen on YA, but, you know, we move. And apparently this reads extremely quickly, which of course, you know, I mean, YA fantasy tends to, but I'm hoping that I won't have to take too long to read this. I'm starting today. Today's Tuesday. My live show is on Monday. I'm away on Saturday night/day. And I just realised I shouldn't say that, but I can because it will already have passed. I have just visited Spoops for Eurovision watch along for my Patreon. I can actually say that on a video because this isn't going out before then. Yes, so I'm visiting Spoops on Saturday, but I'm going up in the morning and coming back like the next day. So, and Friday night I have a curry and a quiz. So essentially what I'm trying to try and do is wake up early every morning and read, because I would like to study in the evenings. So we're going to start Daughter of the Moon Goddess first. I'm going to update you as we go, obviously, as we do. Hopefully Jordan will not delete the clips of this video. And I don't really have much else to say to kick off this video, to be honest. If I remember correctly, February was another bad month in terms of items for Illumicrate and another good month in terms of Fairyloot, or at least not bad. And the books, I have not heard of A River Enchanted before it came, and I had heard of Daughter of the Moon Goddess. So that's the basis we're starting out this vlog on. And hopefully my mind will be changed by some Illumicrate stuff and by the book. Hopefully it'll be good. So yeah, Daughter of the Moon Goddess is about main character who is the daughter of the Moon Goddess. Haha, very good. I actually don't really know much else. It's based on Chinese mythology, is that all I know? Or is it Korean? I think it might be Korean, actually. I might be lying to you. I'll have to look that up. I'm gonna go read before my study starts. Speak to you later. Hello everyone, Daughter of the Moon Goddess update. I have not read much since I last spoke to you. I'm currently on chapter 10. There's been a time skip, which I am a little confused about. I have a lot of thoughts, but like not many at the same time, so I feel like everything is kind of rushed at the moment. I am 100 and I've forgotten where I am because I'm listening to the audiobook on Scribd. Even though I said I don't like the audiobook, but I've been trying to force myself to read this book. And it's not that I don't want to read it. This is the thing. I'm not wanting to DNF and I'm not wanting to not read it. It's just I've not been in the mood for YA-esque fantasy. And I know it reads young and people have told me it reads young and blah, blah, blah. And all I've been wanting to read is adult romance. So last night I did Patreon sprints and I was like, yes, okay, cool. We will read Daughter of the Moon Goddess. And then I was like, oh, well, I've got 10 minutes left of Hook, Line and Sinker. So I finished that. And then I was in a romance mood. So then I started finishing off Birthday Girl by Penelope Douglas instead. So I did finish that as well. And I did read some of Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I did listen to a couple of chapters. Okay, so I'm on chapter 12, which is page basically 150. And there are about 500 pages in this book. So I have 350 pages left to read, and I have to read them all today because my live show is tonight, and the live show is meant to be Monday, and I've already postponed it once. Sorry, patrons, love you lots. But I just literally have not been in the mood for YA romantic fantasy or whatever this is. Even though I love Asian fantasy and you guys know that, I've literally just not been in the mood. But today I'm going to force myself to be in the mood. And I know everyone's going to be like, oh, you shouldn't force yourself to read things if you don't want to, blah, blah, blah. I agree. I fully agree with you. However, I know my own mind, and I know that if I pick up the book, I will then be fine. It's just like the idea of picking up the book. I'm like, oh, well, I don't want to read that. But when I do pick it up and start reading it, I won't put it down, if that makes sense. So that is the reason for the delay. That is the reason for me being like this. And this is the kind of the last book that I have to read before my exams. And my exams are in 2.5 weeks, which is scary. This is probably going to be now, and I'm probably going to read A River Enchanted right near the beginning of June. It's probably going to be the first book I read in June. So yeah, this needs to be done so I can focus on studying. And I know studying is obviously number one for me, but I just want to get this done. So today, Wednesday, is my first day off work. I have today up until my exams on the 6th of June off work. So that's about 2.5 weeks. However, today I am dedicating to finishing this stupid book. And that's it. So I have gotten a bit further since I did last week to you. And again, I do feel like things are a little bit rushed. Time skip feels rushed. Kind of the romance coming into it feels rushed. But I really do hope that something more interesting happens and more dynamics are thrown in. And another girl has shown up, which I'm hoping, for me, always means, oh, maybe polyamory. But I know that not everything's like that. But I wish it was. So I'm going to continue this today. And I'm probably going to try and study a bit as well. But tonight I have the live show at 6. And then I have Daredevil watch along at 7. So that's what's happening today. See you later when I have more of an update. Bye. Hello everyone, update time. Sorry the lighting's a bit odd. I need to work on the lighting in here and how it's working. But today, just now, I have finished Daughter of the Moon Goddess. And you may be wondering why I have 2 editions. And that is because I ordered the Waterstones edition before I decided to get a hold of myself with ordering duplicates. So I do have the Waterstones edition, which is the normal cover, but just with a green sprayed edge. And then obviously we have the Fairyloot edition, which is a sort of more purple navy cover. It is just a colour change, but the edges are stunning. Obviously it is going this way more so than the rest. Yes, I finished. And I am sad to say that I will be getting rid of my Waterstones edition at the very least. I feel like the Fairyloot edition is pretty enough that I'd want to keep it on my shelf regardless, because I do be that way. I do be, you know, aesthetically inclined, and it looks good on Instagram and it looks good when people visit. So I will be keeping it. If in the future I do need to do a clear out and I have more stenciled edges than I can throw something at, throw a book at, I don't know what the phrase is. If I have too many stenciled edges and not enough room, then I will probably end up getting rid of it a couple years in the future maybe. However, this edition is nice enough. The stencil is beautiful. It's nice enough to keep. And obviously there are end papers as well, which I actually haven't looked at since starting the book, and I'm really loving seeing them again. It is scenes from the book, and I really actually am liking seeing them. And this book, okay, so I'll start out with my rating. So I have finished it. I did finish it, most of it all today in one day. I think I had read about 150 pages before today. So I read about 350 pages today. It took me way longer than I expected. I do want to give a shout out to my patrons who, every time for some reason, I seem to have not calculated my reading speed, and I end up doing a sprint in the beginning of the live show to finish the book, and this one was much longer than it should have been. So apologies, and shout out to my patrons for being so patient with me finishing this, but I was not in the mood to pick it up. And I don't know if it was my mood as well as, you know, the type of book it is, but I just wasn't in the mood. I think we do want to have a look at the undercover as well. So then, yeah, there's the under the cover, which is also really nice. I think this book suffered from wanting too much to happen. So I will give you the overall rating. I gave it a 3. Now, for me, that isn't a bad rating by any means. That was one of my kind of resolutions for 2022, was to be a little bit more critical with my ratings, only so that I could really pass like the best of the best and the closest of the best. Because I found last year that I was rating a lot of things 3 stars, but nothing really below, last year and the year before, and even the year before that. When some of those books I really didn't like, and I really hated them, But I was still giving them 2.5 or 3 stars because I didn't want to be too harsh or like, oh, but I did like this about it. But then as time went on, I was like, oh, I fucking hated that book. And then people are like, you rated it this though? And I'm like, oops. So again, I've been trying to be more critical, which means that this is still a really good rating because 3, with being critical, is still very high in my opinion. I wouldn't say it's like the groundbreaking. However, we'll go through the things I liked. So I really liked the main character. I really liked her tenacity. I really liked her drive and her reasons for everything she was doing. So her motives. She wants to protect her mother. She wants her mother to be free. She wants her mother to not be bound to the moon. That's her whole kind of drive of the character. And I did feel like Xingyin is the character's name. I really did feel like she stuck to her morals and her motives. I felt like every decision she made had her mother in mind. She did get her like judgment clouded at certain points, but she recognized that and then kind of steeled herself and like took it upon herself to push forward through it. I enjoyed reading that side of things. There are 2 love interests in this. It is kind of a love triangle situation. Now, anytime I see it, I just wish there was polyamory, but I know that's not going to happen because Iron Widow has spoiled me. Iron Widow was the October book for Illumicrate, if anyone doesn't know, and it's incredible. Perfect masterpiece. I gave it 4.5 stars. I don't think I even gave it 5. It was a 4.5. But polyamory, and it was fabulous and it was great. And every time there's more than one even inkling of like attraction to another person, I'm like, polyamory please. And so it has spoiled me and it's ruined all stories for me going forth. And I know that's not going to happen in this. It didn't happen in the book and it's probably not going to happen in the sequel either. But I did like the main love interest from the beginning, which was Leeway. I did find that things were rushed in the beginning. I didn't quite fully buy into the ship, or so to speak, or the, you know, the tension or the chemistry. I didn't really see it there. I saw it there at first, but then it kind of fast forwarded and suddenly it was 2 years later and then they had only just kissed and I was a bit like, I don't know, it was a bit rushed for me. I didn't feel like that was done very well. I feel like that could have been handled a lot better, just to have a lot more tension and a lot more like, oh, will they, won't they, rather than just like, oh, now it's happened. The romance with the second love interest, I thought it was fine. I didn't really feel much chemistry. I thought that she was just, you know, heartbroken. And then there were plot twists that I saw coming a mile off. There were kind of just things happening I felt like things were constantly happening, essentially. Plot point after plot point after plot point, but it wasn't plot points. It was just like action scenes, and they all together felt quite disjointed, and I wish that there had been more focus. This is a 500-page book. I don't know what happened in it. I feel like I would have loved more character development. I feel like only the main character really got the development. There were a few characters in there that could have been cut completely and the story would have been exactly the same. Case in point, is it Ji Zhao or Zhao Zhao? Her soldier friend, useless, no point in her being there, did nothing for the story. However, this is a gorgeous edition. I honestly, I keep looking at the end papers because the art is so beautiful, and to be honest, 3 stars, it is enough for me to want to continue. There is a sequel coming out. I'm not sure if it's a duology. I'm hoping it is and it's not a trilogy, because I don't feel like you could squeeze that much more out of it. I did feel like this came to a rounded end. I felt like it definitely could have been a standalone. It didn't need a sequel. I feel like even with the writing, the author I could feel with the author that she was like done with the story, but there were like sort of open-ended things. There was no cliffhanger, but it was like, oh, but there's like rumblings of things. That means there could be a sequel, and obviously there is. I think it's The Heart of the Sun Warrior, possibly. And I'm pretty sure Fairyloot are gonna do an edition to match this, which I will be purchasing and reading. So there we are, but it is not enough to want to keep another edition, unfortunately. But I can give things as gifts now because I have friends who read. So I can give books as gifts now instead of selling them on. Or I can sell them on, to be fair. Waterstones editions tend to be, people want them, so let me know if you want this one. I will only want my money back for it, which is probably about 14 quid plus postage. Let me know. I don't know, it was good and it was bad, but it was overall a slightly more good than bad. I felt like the plot was not great and the logic was awful, The characters could have been better. However, the highest scores I think on my core pile were the atmosphere. I think I am very, very biased towards Asian fantasy. I just really, really love the settings that they're always set in and the mythology that they're based on. I love the idea of the daughter of the moon goddess taken from the moon goddess story or fable. Loved that. And also one of my patrons, Mercy, told me that in the original one, the moon goddess takes a bunny with her. So I guess in this, they kind of replace that with like a daughter instead, which is an interesting thing to do and an interesting idea to kind of take forth into a book. So I appreciate that Su Lin Tan did that. So in case anyone didn't know, so Su Lin Tan was born in Malaysia, studied in London and France before settling in Hong Kong with her family. So that's where the author's from, if anyone's wondering. Yeah, I don't know. I feel like there was definitely things that could have been done better. Atmosphere was good. Writing was definitely good. It did feel very lyrical and very flowery, which is something I do really enjoy in writing. Lots of metaphors, you know, it struck a chord within me and the cold words stung me and hushed tones. And, you know, I'm just literally was just flicking through saying words there. That's kind of how that went down with me. That was the highest score that it got. And then the overall enjoyment was actually, I think I put in a 7.5, because even though it had a lot of issues, I kind of just enjoyed it regardless, and I did enjoy the romance regardless. In particular, I loved the boys being jealous of each other, and even them both being jealous of just like a third man, and I was just like, yes! Xing Yin, let's go! She deserves all of this and more. Again, definitely could have been less characters and they could have been cut down. I think it could have ended 130 pages earlier, but here we are, you know? Still overall all right. However, the ratings for like the embellishments are going to be 5 out of 5 for me. 5 out of 5 embellishments. Love the end papers, love the stenciled edges, love the design under the dust jacket. That's getting a 5 out of 5, which I will come back to when we do the overall ratings near the end. So overall, this actually gets an 8 out of 10. So that's pretty high. It's not all about the content, you know, it can be about the aesthetics as well. It's allowed to be about the aesthetics as well. And if I enjoy it, then, you know, that's why I'm keeping it. That's that one. It's currently 2.5 weeks before my exams. So I don't know when this vlog is going to come out because I'd like to start on A River Enchanted as soon as I can, but I feel like I will feel pressured to read it if I start it, if that makes sense, and update a vlog when I really, really should be focusing on studying. But yeah, that's it for Daughter of the Moon Goddess. And next I will be picking up A River Enchanted, which is in my bedroom. It is in my bedroom, ready and waiting for me to pick it up. I will come back to you when I start A River Enchanted / have already read a bit of it probably. Bye. Hello. I said I wouldn't update this vlog because I wasn't going to start A River Enchanted. But I did start A River Enchanted. I started it because it's on Scribd. And this morning I woke up really early because I had to cancel my HelloFresh because something happened and it went wrong and I had to ring them really early. And as soon as I woke up, I was like, oh, I need to ring them. And I knew I wouldn't be able to go back to sleep till I did it. So I did it and it worked and it was all good. And I did it properly. And then I went to go back to sleep and I was like, oh, I shouldn't really go back to sleep properly because then I won't wake up later, or like I won't wake up soon, essentially. So I stayed awake, but with my eyes closed, and I listened to the beginning of A River Enchanted, and the first chapter is really fucking long. The narrator actually talks really fast, and in a Scottish accent. I assume that the narrator is Scottish and not just doing a Scottish accent because it's set in Scotland. The first chapter felt really long because I'm only listening at 1.5 because of how fast she was speaking. But I enjoyed the first chapter. I think that it was quite unique, quite different. The main character is a bard. The whole thing is that there's an island off Scotland called the Island of Cadence, and that's to do with music. Obviously, a cadence is in music, in case you didn't know. I don't know who wouldn't know that, but just in case. So yeah, I did actually listen to the first chapter, and I was actually quite intrigued and quite like pleasantly, you know, surprised at how intrigued I was and how much I was enjoying it. So I will be continuing it later on after sprints. So tonight I am doing sprints on Patreon, but I do have to study because I have not studied pretty much all day. All Stars 7, which is the all winners cast for Drag Race, came out and they were dropped 2 episodes, and the first one was like an hour and 20 And the second one I think was normal length, like an hour. So that took up a lot of time. So I did that earlier, and I kind of was doing study-ish alongside it, but not really. Now I do have to go to my nutrition meeting with my PT, which I am actually doing a vlog, if anyone doesn't know, which you probably don't because I haven't mentioned it yet. But I am doing like a very long vlog, or like maybe a vlog split into 2 videos of basically fitness shit. So if you're interested in that, please do keep an eye out, but nothing is on the horizon as of yet because I've only just started. But I'm about to update the vlog clip after I update this vlog clip, so that'll be fun. I did want to point out as well, I did just have something very exciting in the mail. I did have my Whateverthon bookmarks. So if anyone hasn't seen them, they are fabulous. The Don't Be a Dick one might be my favourite, and the next favourite I think might actually be the TBR Travellers one, because it's just so cute. My team's one is Shelf Slayers, which is this one here, which is also fab. Obviously, they're all fab. Jade and Steph were kind enough to send these to me without any charge, and they did the same for all of the hosts. So I do just want to say a huge thank you, and shout out to Jade and Steph for sending me these, because they did not have to do that. I was planning on buying them anyway. In fact, they did have to refund a few of the hosts who immediately bought them when they came out. And also thanks to Maddie as well, obviously, for creating the readathon, asking me to host again. The Etsy shop is called Daisy and B, Daisy with an IE rather than a Y. And yeah, and obviously there's an Instagram as well, so I will link all of this in the description, please don't worry. But please do check them out. I can't wait to use them all. I think they're all fabulous. Maddie designed them herself, and I do like the backs as well, because we have all the rainbow stuff on the back and different colours for the different teams. So purple is the colour that I bagsied for our team because it's my favourite colour, and I am actually going to be filming a video for all of my purple books that I own, whether I've read them or not, because it's one of those ones that I came up with a prompt for our bingo board. I came up with a lot of the prompts, and I also came up with a name. Well, kind of me and Spoops jointly came up with a name. I said alliteration, and I was like, slaying that shelf, and then Spoop said Shelf Slayers, and I was like, yes, that's what I meant to say. That's what I mean, as a better thing, so we can say it was a joint effort. Purple book or purple cover was one of the prompts that I came up with. I will definitely be showing you all my purple books, and I will come up with some other, I'll do another video on other suggestions, but I was planning on doing a purple cover video anyway, so it's gonna happen. And you will get lots of videos from me. I do have exams in 2 weeks currently, 2 weeks and 3 days, which is very scary because I've done 0 work for them. Why am I like this? I never learn. So I'm going to be extremely stressed for 2 weeks straight. But thankfully I'm off work and I just have to revise. Oh, it's scary though. Scary times. Definitely keep an eye out for more videos. I feel like I'm just rambling now, and I'm just rambling about Whateverthon, but I'm really excited. I'm really excited to be on loads of sprints again. You can be sick of my face again, but I will also not be on for the first week because of my exams. They're on the 6th and the 8th of June. But after that, it's free reign. You know, it's free real estate. I'm going to be there. So yeah, I will update you when I have read a little bit more of A River Enchanted. It might be a bit more bitty, the updates for this one, because I don't think I'm going to be doing huge chunks of reading. I'm probably going to end up reading like a chapter or 2 a day, maybe in the morning, and some in the morning, some in the evening, or something like that. I don't know how different this is going to be. But yeah, I will speak to you again when I have more to say. Bye. Hello everyone! I do not remember the last time I updated this vlog or what I said, but we're gonna roll with it. So I am currently 38% of the way through A River Enchanted. I've been listening to it on the way back and forth walking to work, and I've been trying to walk to work, like doing 4 journeys essentially, which is about a 10 to 12 minute walk away. So I go there and back at lunchtime. I go there in the morning, back at lunch, have lunch, and then after lunch go back to work, and then obviously when work finishes come home. So I've been getting about 40 minutes of listening in a day, probably more than that actually if you thinking about it, like slightly over that, maybe 45. So 38% of the way through and I'm still really bored. Nothing has happened. I don't care about the main characters. I don't care about their lives. I don't care about their wants or their needs or their missions or, you know, their motives. I could not give less of a fuck. If the main woman, Adira, calls Jack her old menace one more fucking time, I'm going to scream. One time in one scene, she called him it like 5 times. in one scene. I'm over it. And then she keeps referring to it and he calls her heiress, and I'm like, I don't care. Like, it's trying to force kind of like a bantery, like, enemies to lovers type thing, when it was just like, well, they just like messed around when they were kids and like teased each other. I don't care. And I'm pushing through because I do want to like have the full experience of the book for the vlog. And it's not like, but if I had, I don't know, because if I was reading this on its own, I probably would DNF. But I'm not really a DNFer because I like to give books like a full chance to like turn it around. But it's currently sitting at like a 2 to 3 star. And I'll be honest, it's probably not going to change from that. The thing is, like, the concept is really good and the like setting is good. It's just like the chapters are really long and I don't care about any of the characters. But the concept is good and like the magic kind of almost system is good. But the plot is boring and the characters are boring. So then, like, what is it really? You can't have a book based on just setting. You've got to have some kind of vibes as well. I mean, there are vibes. The vibes are good, but the plot and the characters are shit. I feel like there's 3 things. It's like setting, plot, and characters, and those are like the 3 pillars. And if you don't have at least 2 that are really good, like to make up for the one bad one, then you're just not going to have a good time, and I'm not having a good time. I'm going to continue because I'm going back and forth to work and stuff anyway, and I feel like I just may as well finish it. And I'm halfway through now and still nothing has happened. Well, halfway, I'm 38% of the way through. That's not halfway, but to me it feels like halfway. It feels like I've been reading this book for years. And I did start it before my exams and stuff, so it's been like, you know, stretched out. And the narrator's not bad either. Like, I like the Scottish accent. I like her inflection. I like the way she does her character voices. So it is, but it just must be the writing because it's so long and I'm so done. I can't be arsed. So there we have it. That's how I feel so far. And I'll probably update you when I'm like maybe another like 20% of the way in or something. I don't know. It's not good. Not good at all. Hello everyone, this is my final clip for Book Box Battle of February, and it is now June, so you could say I'm a little behind, but also in the clips you've just seen probably just now and in general, I have been trying to read A River Enchanted, which is the Illumicrate pick for the February Book Box Battle. Not that they're picking it for my Book Box Battle, but it's the Illumicrate pick for February. I have decided to DNF this book. You guys know me, I'm not really a DNFer. I tend to try and push through and really give a book a chance the whole way through. But this book, I wouldn't even say it was like a bad. It's such a slog. I cannot get on board with like anything happening. I'm not interested in what's going on. It's so slow. I'm 50% of the way through and basically nothing has happened. No plot beats have happened. The 2 main kind of younger romance enemies to lovers, if you could call it that, I would not call it that, is just so dry. There's no passion, there's no spark, there's no chemistry, there are no compounds to be found. There is just nothing that is appealing to me about that romance, unfortunately. And it almost feels like the story tries to center itself around the romance, and then the other plot beats about there's like missing children and stuff is coming as like it's not really far behind, but it's close behind, but it's coming as a secondary thing, even though that's actually more interesting, and they won't get to the fucking point with that. They've only just discovered something that will lead them anywhere, and it's halfway through. I don't like the characters. I don't root for them or hate them. I don't feel anything for them. I don't care. I just don't care. And I actually, like, thinking about it, I was just thinking about it before I started the clip. I was like, okay, well, is it something about expectations? Did I expect a certain thing going in and now it's not giving me that, or what? And I'm just thinking, I didn't really have any expectations going in. All I knew was that it was set on an island and it's about a bard. I don't know if that being about a bard made me think it would be a bit funnier or a bit sexier because of D&D, but it's just, there is absolutely, the main character, the guy, Jack, he just has nothing, he has no chat, he has no banter, there is nothing about him, he has no zhuzh, he has no oomph, there is nothing to this man, he's a dry, boring white man, and I just don't care. And the woman he's in love with, who would like, oh, she keeps calling him my old menace, and it's like, what, he used to like pull some pranks on her when they were like 6, and that makes it enemies to lovers. I don't buy it. I do not buy it, and I don't care. The only people I did care about were the older couple, Torin and Sidra, because they had the kind of trope of like, they've been married for years, but they kind of grew apart, and they also aren't sure of each other anymore, and they're not sure if the other likes them anymore or gets annoyed by them or is in love with them anymore, or if it's just like they're just staying together because for the sake of it and stuff, but they do actually both still really love each other. I really liked that dynamic. I really liked reading about them, but there wasn't enough of that for me to want to continue, unfortunately. So I've given it 2 stars and I've DNF'd, and I don't usually give stars to DNFs, but I feel like I would have given it the same amount of stars even if I'd gone all the way through. Like, I went on Goodreads and I had a read through some reviews of 5-star ones and 3-star ones and lower and DNF ones. And the gist that I got was that it's going to be pretty much the same all the way till the end. And apparently the end is pretty fucking predictable. So that's my verdict. It's not a great month for Illumicrate. Let's talk items, because I can't be asked to talk about A River Enchanted anymore. I don't really have much else to say. I was just not enjoying it. It was so slow, it was so dry, like nothing was happening. I was not invested. I didn't care about the characters or the setting or the plot. I didn't care about anything. I'm not counting it as a read book on Goodreads, so I don't know how to take it off having like starred it. I need to figure that out. Let's go through Illumicrate's then, since we're talking about Illumicrate's book. Let's talk about the book itself, so like, you know, the embellishments and things. The cover, I think, did have a slight colour variation. I'm not massively big on colour variations, could not really give a fuck. The edges, even though they are stenciled, it's fairly generic edge for me. I have about 5 other books that look very similar to this on my stencil shelf already, and I'm looking at 2 of them. So it's just not that unique. Similarly with the foil underneath, it's just the same as the edge. I'm not a big fan. It's fine, like it'll do, but it's just not worth doing it, if that makes sense. It's not good enough to be worth printing it. And then the artwork on the end papers is gorgeous. That's the one thing I will say has going for it. This is gorgeous artwork, but again, it is repeated on both end papers, whereas Fairyloot always has 2 different artworks on the 2 end papers, so that's a +1 for Fairyloot. So overall, story for me with this got a 2. The embellishments got a 3. Like, they're okay. A stenciled edge is better than a blocked edge, but just nothing groundbreaking, basically, in terms of a special edition for me. It is signed properly. Yes, it is signed properly. So altogether, 5 out of 10 on the book itself, or a 2.5 out of 5 if you want to do it that way. So, items. We had... I'm sorry to George, but he's going to have to get the thing up. First up is this pouch. This was from Criers War. So the quality of this, I've got medium, I've got, is it useful? Yes. Is it displayable? No. Will I use it regardless? Yes. And I've given it a 2.5 out of 5, simply for, like, I don't care about the kind of fandom and I don't really care for the design, but it is useful, so it gets kind of half marks. Moving on to the trinket dish. This was the lore trinket dish, but it's just Medusa, so it's just a Greek mythology trinket dish. This is actually my highest rated item in the box. I've given it a quality of high. Is it useful? Yes. Displayable? Yes. And will I use it? Yes. And now useful versus will I use it, those are 2 different things. So if it's useful, that's a general usefulness. Whether I will actually use it is a different story. So that's more of a personal thing. So this one got a 5 out of 5. So next up we had some magnetic coins. These are from Red, White and Royal Blue. Magnetic coins are my favourite item that Illumicrate ever do ever. So this is why these are rated so high. These have got a 4.5 out of 5 for me because quality is high. Is it useful? Technically no. Is it displayable? Yes. And am I going to use them regardless? Yes, as in display them regardless. So they've got a 4.5. They dropped the 0.5 because I've not read the book and I'm not super interested in reading the book. I may at some point, because it's obviously just a romance and people talk about it all the time, maybe when the hype dies down again after the show or something. And then we do have a little sippy cup, as I've written on here, which is a memory called Empire. It's from that book, which I've not read. Love a sippy cup. Can't really go wrong. I've got quality medium. Is it useful? Yes. Is it displayable? Yes. And will I use it? Yes. So I've given this a 3.5, just dropped it for a bit of like, it's just a bit of plastic really. And I don't care for the fandom. Again, we only got 4 items in this. So I think February was the month that they started doing 4 items and saying that it's meant to be more high quality items. I would say 2 of the items were high quality is what I've written and 2 were medium. So overall, the items have got a 3.88 out of 5 as a rating overall, which isn't too bad. I wouldn't say it's great. I wouldn't say it is great considering they've dropped an entire item plus a pin. They've dropped essentially 2 items from the box. And then compared to the month before, which was a 2.4 overall for the items, they did improve significantly from January to February box. Overall, the book got a 2.5 in terms of embellishments plus story. So if we add those 2 things together for the entire box, we get an overall rating of 3.19 out of 5 for the Illumicrate box in February. Overall is a bit of a meh box. 3 stars for me is pretty meh in terms of story, in terms of like an actual novel. This is more of a 5-star rating out of other things. It's not just a book. So please don't correlate a 3-star rating for a book to a 3-star rating for a box. A 3-star rating for a box, would you go to a 3-star restaurant? Like if you saw it only got 3 stars on like Google Maps or Google Reviews or whatever, you'd be a bit like, oh, not great. That's kind of how I'm thinking about these ratings. 3.19 for the Illumicrate box. Moving on to the Fairyloot box, this was Daughter of the Moon Goddess, which, in terms of embellishments, for me this was a 5 out of 5. You've got a completely different colour cover. You've got an absolutely stunning stenciled edge. That is taking the cake. That is perfection. You have a white cover board. You have a lovely, you know, thing on there. I wouldn't say I'm the greatest fan of like character work on foiling. It's not, you know, horrible. I feel there's just a lot of blank space, you know, but it could have been maybe sized up a bit. But then you get absolutely stunning end paper artwork and 2 different end paper artworks in the book, and it is signed. So for me, the embellishments on this book were a 5 out of 5. This is the quality I want to see on every single box from Fairyloot and Illumicrate. In terms of the actual rating for the story, I did end up giving it a 3. I know I've talked about it in a previous clip, so I'm not going to go into it too much, but it did end up being a little bit samey, a little bit predictable, but that's a little bit more YA and what YA is like. I'm not going to fault it for that, but that is just personal preference, as you guys know. So yeah, overall book was pretty good. So that's an 8 out of 10 or a 4 out of 5 if you're going out of, we are going out of 5. So the first item for this was a Crescent City necklace. This I actually wear all of the time, but I have given this a 4 out of 5 because I can see it starting to tarnish already. And I've only worn it a couple of times out and about and worn it to bed a few times. Never worn it in like the rain or in the shower or the bath, but it seems to be tarnishing quite quickly. So the quality for that, I've kind of given a medium to low. I put, is it useful? No. Is it displayable? Yes. Technically on me. And will I use it regardless? Yes. The answer is yes, because I have been using it. So I've given that item a 4 out of 5. Dropped the star for the quality, essentially. It's a Crescent City inspired one, and I love that book, so thumbs up from me. Next, we had some socks. These were the Starless Sea socks. Quality of these I put high. Is it useful? Yes. Displayable? No. But will I use them regardless? Yes. I love socks. Socks are the best. I've given these a 5 out of 5. Can't go wrong. Love the fandom. Love the item. Tote bag. This is for Daughter of the Moon Goddess. This is, again, where I was seeing that Fairyloot were putting an item in to do with the book. So in January, they had a bookmark for Only a Monster, and in February, they've had a tote bag for Daughter of the Moon Goddess. Quality high. Is it useful? Yes. Is it displayable? Yes. Will I use it regardless? Yes. I've given this a 4.5 and I've dropped the 0.5 of a star only because I didn't actually enjoy the fandom that much. Again, this is like picking at numbers. I'm being really picky because I feel like that's the best way to be. Next, we have these bookends, which are like moon and sun themed. These I put quality high because they're like a metal thing. Useful, yes. Displayable, yes. Will I use it regardless? The answer is no, because I don't actually need bookends. I have lots of bookshelves. So I don't actually feel like these would be very useful unless I get even more shelves in which I need to actually put books on top. But I currently use the tops of my shelves already for like piling the other way rather than like a normal shelf. But I've given these a 4 out of 5. They're not the worst item, but they're slightly better than bad. That makes it sound bad. A 4 is good. 4 is like I may use it. I like the idea. It's pretty fandom neutral. They kind of went with the moon theme again, but it's not directly linked to Daughter of the Moon Goddess. But it just does have the moon theme, which I did like that touch. But it is more fandom neutral, which I like as well. Next, we had a Vicious Fox print. This I put quality was medium. Useful, no. Displayable, debatable. It's in my book of things kind of displayed in there. Will I use it regardless? Not really. I've given this a 3 because the artwork is not like great either, not gonna lie. And then we also did have tarot cards, which I think were the very last tarot cards in the box. They were some Red Rising tarot cards. And again, with this, you're getting 6 items from Fairyloot. 2 of them are paper items, I will admit that. But overall, out of all these items, adding up all of my kind of ratings, I gave the tarot cards a 4 because they're tarot cards, not really much to say. Overall, the rating got a 4.08 for the items, and we had a 4 exactly for the book. So overall, this box had a rating of 4.04, which is almost a whole star above Illumicrate's box this month. So overall, they fight it out and Illumicrate lose. And Fairyloot wins for February. And I tell you what, before this year, I would have not predicted that. I would have predicted that Illumicrate would have come out on top nearly every month. It's just not going the way that I thought it would. And I'm happy to be keeping my Fairyloot subscription, to be honest, because that's how it be. That do be how it be. If anyone in the UK wants to buy this off me, let me know. But I will be keeping Daughter of the Moon Goddess. I do want to buy the sequel as well. The sequel, they've announced the edition and shown what it looks like as well. I'll get George to show it here. It looks amazing. And I'm very excited for it. So what more can you say? So yeah, sorry for the kind of quick fire ending to this one, guys. But I kind of wanted to get this video out. I haven't seen you guys in ages. You haven't seen me in ages. It's been a while since I got a video out because of exams and such. So thank you so much for watching. I will be continuing. I'm trying to get through a sort of catch up on Book Box Battle now. I'm going to be trying to do March very, very soon because they're 2 quite quick books actually, quite short. So that's Gallant from Illumicrate and The Girl Who Fell Beneath the Sea from Fairyloot. So yeah, if you did enjoy this video, please do give it a like below. Make sure you leave me a comment with a little moon emoji if you were here but you didn't really have anything to say but wanted to let me know that you were here. Make sure you subscribe so you get all the future content from me in your inbox. All of my links are in the description, including my Patreon. If you don't know what goes on my Patreon, then this is what you're missing out on.
Hello. As you can see, I am clearly not Roa. She went on a shopping trip, a grocery trip, and she thought she might be back in time, but she's not. So this was a contingency. If she wasn't, I just heard the door, so Roa's back as well. Hello.
Boots open.
Boots open, yeah, okay. Tag in.
Okay.
Hello. And speaking of my Patreon, I want to give a huge shout out to everyone at my deity tier. So that is Becca, Meg, Rachel, Lisa, Lydia, Mercy, Sarah, Tori, Liv, Adinda, Celeste, Britt, Marloose, Kay, Hannah, William, Chris, Andy, Lauren, Kate, Kendra, Ashley, Lynn, Amy, Hattie, Jenny, Katie, Aushlag, Chloe, Charlotte, and Mads. Thank you guys so much for all of your support, and I'll see you in another video. Bye.